Hello friends, welcome again. Today we are going to start new lessons from the general science. Name of that lesson is metal and non-metals. Okay? In these lessons we learn basic more four major points. That means four outline points of these lessons. Physical properties of metals and non-metals, chemical properties of metals and non-metals, noble metals and corrosion. These are major outline points of these lessons. Okay, then what comes or any other extra points on these lessons are we take one by one. First of all, what are the types? What are three types in which elements is generally classified? Okay, elements are classified into three types, that is metals, non-metals and metalloids. That means element is classified. Okay, what are metals and non-metals that we use every day in the life? Metals we everyday use in life: aluminium, copper, iron, steel, stainless steel. Non-metals like chlorine, iodine, oxygen, these are non-metals. Okay, you might have seen a doctor pressure gauge to measure the blood pressure during your visit to the dispensary. Accompanying your relative, that you might have seen grey colored liquid in the glass tube, which is that metal. Okay, that metal is mercury. Now, while studying the chemical properties of the metals, it is found that gold and silvers do not react readily. First, okay, then first come to the point of the lessons, that elements are classified into three types. We know metals, non-metals and metalloids. Physical properties of the metals. Okay, there are few physical properties that we clear that concept of the metals. Metals have luster, that means shining. Metals have lusters. Metals are hard, that not soft, not brittle. They are malleable and ductile. Metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. At normal temperature, metals are generally solids. Metals usually have a high density. Metals have high melting point and high boiling point. Metals are sonorous. These are a few properties of a physical properties of the metals that we see, touch and feel. Okay, first property is that metals have lusters. If maximum metals have a shining. If we polish or we rub, that we can clear the metals have a lusters. The metals are hard, like stainless steel, aluminium, copper. These types of metals are hard. They are malleable and ductile. Malleables and ductile. The metals are malleables and ductiles. That means from the metals, 1 gram of gold, we can brought out 1 kilometer a thin wire of gold, from 1 gram of gold. That means what we say, that means tanyata and vardhaniyata, like this. Metals are good conductors. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. At normal temperatures, metals are generally solids. We see iron, steel, aluminium, coppers, stainless steels. At room temperature, they are solids. Metals usually have high density, and metals have high melting point and high boiling point. And also, metals are sonorous. They are making a sound. So, the bell in the temple is the best examples of a sonorous, that means making a sound. Then physical properties of non-metal. What are physical properties of the non-metals? Non-metals do not have luster. Metals have luster, non-metals have not luster. That means non-metals not making a shine. Non-metals are non-malleable and ductile. Non-metals are non-malleable and ductile. We cannot create a thin wire from non-metals, or cannot make a sheet. In metals we are making a sheet of a gold and silvers, and we can brought a thin tiny wire from the gold, but in non-metal we cannot do this type of, that means not malleable and not ductile. They are poor conductor of heat and electricity. At normal temperature, non-metals are in solid. Both are, metals are solid and non-metals are also solids. Non-metals are in solid, gaseous and liquid states. Non-metals have low density, metals have high density. Solid non-metals are brittle. Non-metals have low melting point and low boiling point. That means if we are making a comparison of a physical properties of a metal and non-metals, here are somewhat difference we can understand, and we can clear all these things. Metals are solids, non-metals are also solids, but metals have a high density, non-metals have a low density. Metals are only, maximum metals are in solid, but maximum non-metals are what are solid state or in gaseous states. Metals are good conductor of heat and electricity, non-metals are not good conductor of heat and electricity. Okay, metals are malleable and ductile, non-metals are non-malleable and non-ductile. Metals have high boiling point and high melting point. Non-metals have low boiling point, low melting point. Somewhat this is the difference of the metals and non-metals. Okay, in exam the question is asked to you, write down the difference between physical properties of the metals and non-metals. From these we can clear physical properties and metals and non-metals. Okay, then next point is that metalloids have properties which are intermediate between metals and non-metals. That means metalloids are some metallic properties and also non-metallic properties, both combination in the metalloid. We see gold, silver, aluminum are highly malleable metals. A sheet of a thickness 1/10,000 micrometers and wire with a diameter 1/5,000 micrometers can be made from the gold. Before that I told you we can take a thin wire from the gold. That means gold is a malleable and ductile. Okay, these are some physical properties of metals, non-metals and metalloids. Now come to the point, chemical properties of the metals. Majority of the metals have up to 3 electrons in their outermost shell. That means sodium, magnesium and aluminum. So, atomic number of sodium is 11. Atomic number of the magnesium is 12. Atomic number of the aluminum is 13. That means when we see the outermost shell, that means when we see the electronic configuration of a sodium, atomic number is 11. So electronic configuration 281. Atomic number of a magnesium is 12. The electronic configuration 282. Atomic number of aluminum is 13. So electronic configurations 283, like this. Formation of ions. Metal have a tendency to lose their valence electrons from the positively charged ions, that is the cations. That means metals have a tendency to lose valence electrons from the positively charged ions, that are called cations. Okay. Sodium Na plus gives 1 electron. That means Na plus and one electron is having a negative charge. So Na plus and E minus. Magnesium Mg double plus and 2 electrons lose. Then aluminum Al triple plus 3 electrons. That means the tendency of a metal to lose positively charged electrons, that is cations. Reaction with oxygens. Chemical properties of a metal. When metals reacted with the oxygen, what happens? when metals combine with oxygen to form their oxides. React with oxygen, form oxides. Metal plus oxygen gives metal oxides. Example, the metal oxides are basic in nature. Metal oxides react with an acid to form salt and water. That means metal oxides plus acid gives salt plus water. Okay, then what is the reaction of a metals with the acids? Most of the metals react with the dilute acids to form metal salts and hydrogen gas. Metal plus dilute acid gives metal salt plus hydrogen gas. When metals react with water, metals like a sodium and potassium react vigorously with cold water to form metal hydroxides and hydrogen gas. Magnesium metals requires a steam or hot waters to give their oxides and hydrogen. That means we'll see reaction of a metals with oxygen forms metal oxides. Reaction of a metal with acid forms metal salts plus hydrogen gas. Reaction of a metals with water forms metal hydroxides and hydrogen gas. Okay. Similarly, what are chemical properties of the non-metals? When we see that most of the non-metals have 4 to 7 electrons in their valence shell. That means nitrogen is a non-metal. Atomic number of a nitrogen is 7. Therefore, electronic configuration 2 and 5. Electronic configuration, last outermost shell of a nitrogen is incompleted. Then oxygen, atomic number of oxygen is 8. Then electronic configuration 2 and 6. In first shell 2 electrons, in second shell 6 electrons. Also outermost shell is incompleted. Okay. Then Cl, chlorine, atomic number of a chlorine is 70. Electronic configuration 2, 8 and 7, but 1 electron is imbalanced. That means outermost shell is incompleted. Okay. Then formation of ions. Non-metals have tendency to accept electrons in their valence shell to form negatively charged ions called as the anions. Metals have a tendency to lose positively charged electrons from the shell, that is cations, and non-metals have a tendency to accept electrons from their valence shell to form negatively charged called as the anions. Therefore, chlorine Cl plus 1 electron, that means Cl minus. Oxygen O plus 2 electron, that is O double minus. We can write down O minus minus, that is accept the electrons from the other metals. And nitrogen plus 3 electrons and 3 dash. Chlorine 1, oxygen 2 and nitrogen 3. When now question is that what is the reaction of oxygen with a non-metal? Non-metals combine with oxygen to form their oxides. In metals they form also oxides, in non-metal form the oxides. Non-metal plus oxygen gives the non-metal oxides. Okay. Then oxides of a non-metals are acidic in nature. They react with bases and soluble to form the soluble salt and water. That means carbon plus oxygen, C plus O2 gives CO2. CO2 plus sodium hydroxide, NaOH, gives Na2CO3, sodium carbonate plus water. The oxides of a non-metals react with water to form an acid. That means CO2 plus H2, that is H2CO3, carbonic acid. SO2 plus H2O, H2SO3, sulfurous acid. SO3 plus H2O, H2SO4, sulfuric acid. That means When non-metals reacted with oxygen forms metallic oxides, and non-metals are acidic in nature, and when they react with the bases to form soluble salts and water, like this before I told you this. And when oxides reacts with water form an acids, that means example is SO3 plus H2O gives H2SO4, that is a sulfuric acid. Carbon CO2 plus H2O, carbon dioxide plus water form carbonic acid, like this. Okay, then noble metals. Some metals like gold, silver, platinum, palladium and rhodium are found in nature in form of elements. They have not affected by water, acid and heat. Those metals are not affected by acid, water and heat. Hence they are called noble gases or noble metals. Sorry, not gases, noble metals. Okay. Uses of noble metals. Gold, silver, platinum are used to prepare ornaments, which usually maximum ladies, women are used gold ornaments in their functions. Silver is used to medicine. It is an antibacterial property. Gold and silvers are also make medals and few electronic devices, which is used in the electronic devices and making the medals. Platinum, palladium metals are used as a catalyst for making a reaction using a catalyst that use the platinum and palladium. Okay, purity of the gold. The purity of the gold is measured in carats. 24 carats is considered as a gold of 100% pure or 100% purity. 24 carat gold, pure and very soft. 100% pure gold bends or breaks easily. 100% pure gold breaks and bends easily. Therefore, copper or silver is added to gold in the necessary proportion while making ornaments. That means pure gold is very soft and break easily. For making hardness as per our requirement of the ornaments, copper and silver is added in the gold for making ornaments. Okay, in the give the reason. The question is asked, why copper is added in the gold? This question is asked in the exams. Then next point is that corrosion. Gases in their react with the metals in presence of a moisture to form metal compounds on the surface. The metals get affected by this process and undergo corrosion. We see various everywhere, somewhat in windows, in some material like chairs, metallic chairs, doors and any other machineries get corrosion due to the air react with metal. That means metals reacted with the air and in presence of a moisture form metallic compounds on the surface, and the metal get affected by this process and get started or get undergo to the corrosion. Okay, from these lessons what we learn, what is the major three types of elements: metal, metalloid and metal, non-metal and metalloids. Okay, then what are physical properties of the metals, what are physical properties of the non-metals, then what are chemical properties of the metals and what are chemical properties of the non-metals. Okay, then what are unnoble metals, uses of the noble metals, then purity of the gold and corrosion. All these points we learn from these lessons. I think all of you understand it well, very well. If you have any query, then you may contact me. Here the lesson is finished. Okay, thank you.